To thy own self, and today I have the lovely Kamo. Hello.
Hi. What's up?
Nothing much. We're gonna have conversations though. We're gonna
Yeah.
bring the behind the words element into thy own self. And yes, it is behind the words, like conversations. So like behind words, we find conversations, conversation starters, things that make us grow, things that make us really think, introspect, retrospect.
Yeah.
All the
Basically,
all aspects, investigate.
Yes,
Right.
that's the word.
So, one common theme that we found was very common for what she was going through, what I've been going through.
What most 25-year-olds are going through right now.
Well, 26
Are we
now.
26?
Hello! 26! 26.
Well, that's 25-year-olds.
Yeah. You know, my comment said 26 comes with this acceptance thing. And I swear when you get to 26, tell me how you feel.
Really?
Because really it's like a lot of struggle to find. Even Jessica was like, 26 is just like acceptance of everything before that.
I think I'm looking forward to that because,
Yeah,
wow,
so-
25 has beaten me.
The entire stage of, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk on, we were struggling to find this topic, so hopefully by the time I upload this video, it will have a direct theme. But ultimately, what we're talking on is basically, you know when you lose yourself, where you just feel triggered by a lot of things, you're on edge about everything. You're on edge about everything, finances, friendship, relationships, family, everything just makes you feel like, oh my goodness, even work, you know, even your me time also feels like, hey, I can't deal, I can't be alone, you know? So being on edge and trying to find your center in the midst of the storm.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to talk about. So we have about 6 pointers. She wrote most of it.
Yo, guys. That was hard, by the way.
She wrote most of them. So we're gonna, this comes from conversations. If you've been to conversations, you know we normally have a hat, and based on the topic, you drop some thoughts that you want us as a group to discuss. It just makes it easier to keep the conversation going. So there's one-liners from poems, from
Books.
Instagram feed things.
Yes.
That you see and you're like, you know, you're scrolling, you're like, this is talking to me. Yeah. So
I would put a lot of books in here actually, but she gave me the option of just 5.
yeah, because you know,
Lines.
YouTuber, like you're trying to make people want like 20 minutes max. 20 minutes max of doing this. Okay, so before we even open this, let's say, what's the one thing you'd say you found very challenging about being on edge?
I think the one thing that I've found very challenging was my emotions. I think with everything happening, I wasn't able to really master my emotions, so it would come out as outbursts. Most of the time, I'd feel triggered, and then I'd have a tantrum, and then I'd try to figure out like, what the heck is happening? What is happening in my life? Why am I not holding it in together? And then I started saying, no, I'm just an emotional person. So yeah, and then I realized that's an excuse to stay in that moment, and I didn't like staying in that moment. So I had to consciously work through my emotions and try to figure out, where is the source of it all? Like, where is it rooted? Why am I reacting instead of responding? Because I think that's something that we do a lot as human beings. We react until we get to a point that, hey, this is a little bit too much, sis. You need to actually pause, reflect, then respond. And respond from a place that is healed rather than your inner child. Because if we look at our inner children, guys, there's a lot of hurt that we carry through, and and then we start projecting in our present, and that's in the past. It's supposed to remain in the past. But that was the most difficult one for me. When?
I would say control.
My therapist told me I have a control issue. Oh wait,
I would say control. I love control. I have to admit, I have to be in control of every situation. If I do not know the outcome of a situation, I don't put myself into that situation. I need to, even on my risky behavior, it's still very calculated risky behavior, because I'm like, this is potentially what could happen, this and this, and then I'll be like, okay, cool, I'm okay with the risks. You know? But I control. Being on edge for me is just like, I feel like it has taught me to realize, what can I control, what can I not control, and being able to let go of control in moments where I can't control, because that's where my anxiety stemmed from. It literally stemmed from my need to control a situation, and when I had my biggest anxiety attack, it came from I had lost control.
Sure.
And I didn't know what's the way forward, because everything was so lined up. Everything, I knew the risk factors, I knew where this was going, and all of a sudden it's like, wait, this was not even plan D. It's like a whole plan that was not one that I had not agreed upon. And now I have to reshuffle, reevaluate, everything, and it was just like, it's a lot at once to process. And for me, control is my point of edge.
No, I get that. I don't know if it's because of our backgrounds, but there's a part of us that, especially people that have a sense of, I need to be in control. There's some type of instability that we're trying to now gain back. And now we try to control every single aspect of our lives just so that it comes out the right way, just the right way. It's not too much. And uncertainty. There's not too much uncertainty. It's just okay, I'm aware there might be this, there might be this, there might be this. Okay, that's fine. If there's something else,
it's like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this. No. Terminate contract. Terminate contract. Okay.
Okay, this is gonna be deep, so I don't know if I should take off my jacket. Okay, no.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting. I am freeing myself of comparison and making space for understanding, empathy, and forgiveness. And this is from After the Rain by Alexandra.
Yes.
Yeah, this is one of yours.
So this is one of mine, and I chose this one. So it was yesterday. A couple of hours ago, there was this live that I was reading. I was watching. Wow, reading English. Yes, this live that I was watching, that's where this lady was like, comparison kills confidence, and a big part of me didn't understand what comparison really robs us of, and I think throughout my life, there was a point where I was super confident in who I was, super grounded in the person I was becoming, and then something happened. I don't know if it was puberty or adolescence, something just happened, and that moment of looking at myself and looking at the other person and feeling like there's something missing in me. That part robbed me of so much joy, number one. It robbed me of my identity. It robbed me of being kind to myself. And I think that's where the forgiveness and the empathy then comes in, because there were so many incidents where I would speak to myself after doing something let's say something that I thought was good, and then I'd look at somebody else and they're doing better, and I'd be like, you're not doing good enough. And I didn't realize that language is actually a setup for my failure, because now it's beating me down. So how I started speaking to myself was it wasn't a good conversation. And we don't realize that we're constantly speaking to ourselves in here every single day. You are the one person you speak to the most. So every single time I'll be like, okay, I'm not getting where I need to be. I'm not getting the car that I need. Like, I've been working for how long and I'm still using this car, and now it's giving me problems, and people have changed their third cars, and
yeah,
it becomes a lot. And you start comparing your relationships, you start comparing and I think this whole social media thing, I don't know about you, this whole being on social media really kind of shoots us in the foot, because now people will be posting, and obviously here we are watching what people are posting. Oh, something that the lady said, we're watching what people are posting, and instead of drawing inspiration from them, what we do is we draw comparison, and then once we compare, we start hating ourselves because we're not where we want to be, or where somebody else has gotten out of. They're not showing us their whole process, but they're there, and we want to skip the process and get to where they are. And that really, it even nullifies, it diminishes the integrity of the process. And yeah, I think that for me, the journey of it, I don't know, is it an age thing though? By 25, I should have done this. By 22, I should have been married. I don't know if married even by 20. Is it a 20s thing? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I wouldn't say it is. It's almost like the pressure to live up to dreams we had, not knowing the realities of the time that we would be in.
Yeah.
You know? It's like a 5-year-old saying, I want to be a doctor, and then getting to realize that actually it's not about just passing a matric. You can have the A grades and still not get accepted into medicine, having to do BSc to get to the, it's like, and then obviously that delays the process and everything, because you were like 18 medicine, qualified 24. Yeah, it's 24. Qualified 24, boom, boom, bang. Now you have 2 years of BSc before you got accepted into medicine, and it just derailed all these plans. And now it's the pressure of that 5-year-old saying, I wanted to be a doctor, 24, married, 25, first child, 27, and then it's suddenly like, I'm 27, I'm still in 5th year,
I feel like we set ourselves up though. Not even, okay, let me not say we set ourselves up. I feel like we cling on to a dream unaware of the God moment in that present moment. And we want to run back to that and be like, but this was my dream and this is how I wanted it to be. And
control.
You see, that's how it ends up becoming. It becomes such a control thing. And then we beat ourselves down for not getting where we are going quicker.
Yeah. I was like, you don't know when it changed. And I can pinpoint when my comparisons became like a problem for me. I think I've spoken in this quite a few times, is that I never really lived in my own body. Like, I've always felt like my body was a vessel. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I'm here, but this is not me. I never amounted myself to my physicality.
Yeah.
And then the moment I allowed my surroundings to put me into my physicality, then I started comparing. Then I had body issues. Then I had this issue. Then you're just like, now I'm in my body, and now I'm seeing all these insecurities. Now I'm wondering, is my brain as smart as I think it is? Am I as good enough as I think I am?
Oh my
goodness, varsity. So end of second year, moving into third year, I don't know, maybe characters I allowed into my presence. I then lived more into my body, and isolation also added to that element, because I isolated a lot in third year. Like, I felt myself not chilling with the people who brought out the good in me, who validated the person I was outside of my body, who validated
your inner being.
Your inner being.
Your inner being.
I spent less time with those people, and then all of a sudden it's like, Kamo is here. Silo, why are you not there? Mang is doing this. Silo, why are you not here? And it really, it manifested for up until my first community service. up until then, and then it just became like an explosion. In the moment, I was just like, can I swear? No, I can't swear. I'm just like, F this. I'm tired. Like, I'm tired, and this is not me. And now I needed to like work into finding myself and forgiving myself for the things I thought I wanted. I think I said this when you like having to forgive myself for the things I thought I wanted because I was expected of me. You know, and having to work through that actually I don't want ABC. ABC was 6-year-old CeeLo trying to correct a situation in her life, you know, and it's not part of me. It's not part of the journey I want to go into. I'm very, like at this point, I'm very, what's the word? I'm very sure and certain of the person I am and what I want out of my life that I'm not even fazed by somebody disagree with me. Like if you disagree with my values or my beliefs or my outlook on my life, it's exactly that, my life. Yeah. You know, and I don't have to explain it. That's another thing. I think a lot of the comparison for me came with the not being able to explain my vision. You know, then all of a sudden, because Kamo can explain her vision better, I feel like maybe that's the better vision because it has a whole storyline. Sure. It has a plan, it has a goal, it has all of this, and you're like, okay, maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And then you're like working with Kamo's thing, and you're like, but I'm so unhappy. I'm so unhappy. You know, and so yeah, forgiveness for me has been allowing myself to let go of the things that I thought I wanted, but clearly I don't because I'm working so much against it. Like, because I can have it and still be working against it, and it's just me realizing, actually, no, this is not where my joy lies.
You see, I honestly, I think what touched me with what you said right now is having to forgive yourself. I think it's one thing to forgive others. It's so easy. I find it easy to forgive others and to forgive other people. Like, obviously, sometimes some people are just they're trying you back. But I find it easier.
Like, I'm forgiving you today, but tomorrow I might just.
I'm like, God, your children though.
I might just treat
But when I have to sit down, especially now in my journaling, wow, in my journaling, there's this prompt that says, what am I forgiving myself for today? I find that so difficult to come up with an answer because I'm like, man, what am I supposed to be forgiving myself for? But I realized that I cover people's dreams, and sometimes it turns into a imposter syndrome type of thing. But when I realize, and I, with what you just said right now, when I realize, well, no man, this is not my dream. It's when I feel most out of my skin because I'm living my dream through your plans, and it becomes just a mess. And then I have to pause and be like, you know what, self, your level of awareness right then and there was this. Now you have to forgive yourself and move on because you were doing your best at your level of awareness. Now that you're aware that this is not the path that you're supposed to be going on, you need to move, and you need to move nice and swiftly along. And yeah, I think that's difficult though.
No,
it becomes difficult.
I like the forgiveness of self. The one thing for me that has actually been a catalyst in allowing myself to forgive myself has actually become my faith. Where I just sit and I'll be like, it's a bit redundant, you know? And like when I think, like, because I do these things, I imagine God and having a conversation. And then I find myself crying about something I'm struggling with because, okay, see, you've forgiven yourself, you've prayed for forgiveness. Yeah. You believe He's forgiven you. Now here we are crying again. You know, like, you know, it just becomes like He's like,
you're just leave
how many times do I need to assure you that this is okay? Like, how many times do I need to validate that for you? And then I realize in those moments, it's not even so much that I haven't forgiven myself. It's me holding myself back. almost like me not having forgiven myself keeps me in this victimhood, if I can put it that way. Like, it keeps me in suffering. And because I don't know what it is, people, why do we not want joy in our lives? Why do we not want joy?
So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about suffering, how it has been glorified over the years. If you're not suffering, you're not having that resilience, and you're not doing this, and you're not doing. So we have been conditioned to think that suffering is the way of being. And honestly, I'm tired of suffering. I don't understand it. Why is it that I have to suffer through something to get to somewhere else? Why? And I think what you said about faith, it has shown me that you know what? I don't have to be in constant war to get to a place, or to get joy, or to be happy about my life. I don't need to be suffering to be happy. It does not need to be winter to be okay, it does have to be winter to be spring, but like, it doesn't have to always be a dark place in order for me to be like, okay, I've made it, I'm happy now. We honestly have gotten to a place where suffering has become a standard. And we need to dismantle that.
Maybe
we need to dismantle that, because who and why and how come Jesus suffered for me, guys? Now I'm tired of suffering. Jesus died on that cross so that I don't need to be dying every single day just to be happy. Exactly. So I think that's where now, I think that's true. That's where then we now let go of the comparison, because hey,
you're unique.
Literally. There we go. Right, so oversharing is how you leak energy. Privacy is protection, but led by source.
Oh yeah, it's led by source. It's an Instagram name. I actually don't know how this. It's an Instagram feed.
Okay, hi, led by source. Hope you see this. Okay, what does this mean? Oversharing is how you leak energy. Privacy is protection. In what aspect were you?
Okay.
Because, I believe that sometimes telling our story can be freeing.
Mm-hmm.
Telling our story can help another person heal.
Mm-hmm.
So
I take that as like owning your truth and
Yeah.
sharing your truth can be like a catalyst for healing for both parties receiving it in. However, you need to know who to share those truths with. Like not everybody is for you. And when I saw this, it reminded me of my still comments. Still don't know who it is. But like this person knew so much, and it became this point where I was just like, I speak out of a place of it's no longer a problem for me, it's no longer an issue, so I don't feel like I need to hide certain things. I can talk on it if it, like how you say, sharing catalyst for healing.
Yeah.
But I learned knowing your circle, is very important.
Okay.
Because when you speak,
Jesus even had Judas, sorry.
when you speak, you're sharing an energy.
Yeah.
Because it's oversharing. Like, an example would be, it's weird sharing this example since I'm single, but like, me telling you about my struggles with my boyfriend, and then having that being used again, like now we're in a good place,
Yeah.
but now you know what went down. Whereas I needed to protect the privacy of this relationship, so that it can grow, so that it can be, even with friendship, it doesn't really have to be a relationship. It can be a really close friend. Sharing what my friend is going through with another friend. I don't have to share that element. I also don't have to share me looking for a new job, with everybody. It's just my people that need to know, because you never know who's praying against it or doing other things against it. And that's what it is like protecting. Privacy is protection, and it's not saying be secretive about things. It's saying protect your space. Protect your emotions, protect, because one thing you don't want is having that come back tenfold over than what it was actually intended to be. So oversharing is a leak of energy, because when you share too much with people, especially when the plan hasn't been implemented, like your beginning stages, it's energy. That's how I understood that.
I think what you are saying is very crucial. I don't know if it's for our age or for a lifetime. I think it's a lifetime thing. There are moments where we let our guard down. And I think this is something that scripture warns us to or against or from. It warns us about, like, there's this scripture that says, guard your heart. You cannot be wearing your heart on your sleeve with each and every single person, because you don't know which person will end up leaving with it. Literally taking that part of you. I think
rubbing in your joys.
Yes, but it's quite. I think what I want to ask you is this: now that you look and have had an introspection of your circle, what do you then do? Because we have this thing where we're like, now I'll drop that one. We delete, we move on. Is it a healthy approach? What approach do you then take to guarding
the heart,
that
boundaries? To look at my circle, look at the people in my life and say, okay, funny enough, I had to trust the people. Because that's how it started off. It required me, because like I said, I lost control of and then my anxiety was at a peak, and then I trusted no one. I had no one that I felt I could open up to, which was not good for my mental health, because now it's just everything all at once. So I had to trust my circle, and seeing who reciprocated, who heard what I was saying, and who was responding to just to validate what you're going through and saying I'm here, rather than saying who was just responding for the sake of responding, who was just and wasn't. So it was like I'm trusting my circle, and obviously with that I saw people reciprocating, and then I was like, okay, these are my people. These are my people, and it took a lot for me to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to share. Because I would share certain things with certain people, and obviously it was not reciprocated well. And with that, I've lost quite a few friendships in terms of me reaffirming my circle. I've lost friendships in reaffirming myself. And it's not because I said, hey, Kamo, some phone. It was just that because now there's certain boundaries. Kamo felt that she couldn't be my friend anymore. And I was just like, you know what? It's okay, Kamo. If you feel like you can't be my friend anymore, I'm not going to hold you back. But, my door is always open. It's just that I can't extend myself more than the 50% I'm willing to extend. But you need to meet me halfway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that the healthiest, that thought disappeared. But I think that somebody once said this to me, that it's okay to love people from a distance. We don't hate, we love just from a...
Yeah, keep it there.
Yeah,
stay there.
Like... Okay.
Yes.
But also there are people who are in our lives to serve. Yeah, they once said it like this: there are people in our lives to serve a purpose, whether they are there for a lifetime, for a season, or for a reason. And we need to have the understanding of which aspect people are there for. And when it's time to leave, we need to have the grace, we need to have the love, we need to have the peace of letting a person go. Because we as people are constantly evolving. We as people are constantly understanding ourselves. For one, we are returning back to our inner being, to our core, to our God. We are returning back there, so we now get the awareness, the knowledge, the sense of identity. So now we are able to articulate it a little bit better than we were back then. Because remember, our teenage years, we were trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Most of that was we're trying to fit in. We're trying to cultivate that, okay, I belong somewhere. But once you realize that you weren't created to fit in, you weren't created to accommodate a lot. We're created to accept and experience people for who they are. Then we do so. Then do we take the courageous step of, okay, Sila's experiencing this. It's her experience. It's her life's journey. I'm not there to go and try to fix, to go and try and control, to go and try and make right and make it easier. We are there to give the support. We are there to hold the space. But at the end of the day, the journey is hers, the journey is mine. And it is up to her to want to share with the whole world, or to share, or to keep it very close to heart until the right time. There's a right time to actually speak about it, or to even not, whether there's a time or not, it's your thing, it's your thing. And we need to allow ourselves, the grace to understand that this is our thing, this is my thing, and it's okay for it to be my thing. There doesn't need to be another hand in the cookie jar.